Good morning. It is Saturday, April 9th, 2022. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. Had a pretty good day yesterday. I went to the movies, talked to my family on the phone, came back and made a fancy dinner. I made duck à l'orange. Um, it was a Blue Apron kit meal. Sometimes you can, pay a little extra to get fancier ingredients. I think I said this yesterday, but I actually did it now. One thing that was interesting about cooking duck as opposed to chicken is at least the way that it was prepared for me. It still had the skin on one side, and it was fatty enough that I was able. You don't even have to put any like oil or anything in the pan. You just put it skin side down, and you let the duck's own fat do the cooking there, and worked out pretty well. The side was with roasted purple potatoes and Brussels sprouts, and it was all just delicious. And I spent a lot of the afternoon, evening in uh, watching a stream from the film writer, Film Crit Hulk, who sometimes will do movie marathon streams on his Twitch channel, and just, people just talking in the chat while the movies play, and I did that while watching dinner, and it was a good evening. But so the movie I went to see Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was a great title. I mean, it's long, so you kind of have to type it all out, but it was really good. If you're not familiar with it at all, it stars Michelle Yeoh and um, Ke Huy Quan, I believe is the pronunciation. I may have that a little wrong, but you'll probably know him from playing Data in The Goonies and Short Round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and hasn't done a ton since then. But he is one of the leads in this movie, and he's great. The basic premise: we start with a woman who owns a laundromat with her husband, and they have a daughter, but they're being audited, and things are just kind of not going well. And we get the impression that part of what's happening there is just that she is kind of always a little bit scattered. She's always trying to do too many things. And then they're on their way to the IRS for this audit when all of a sudden in the elevator, her husband kind of does this weird sort of physical reaction take, looks to her, takes off his glasses, and says, "I'm actually not your husband. I'm just a version of him from another universe, but we have a reason to believe that you're in danger. So let me give you these instructions to follow." And thus begins a multiversal adventure that is chock full of entertaining action and humor and visual detail, and it's just great. I loved it. It is, I think, potentially like could be. I could imagine it being a little bit visually overwhelming for some folks. Like, I mean, I like that about it, but I could get that some people might not, just based on past experience. Other, like, the movie that comes to mind when I think of that aspect of it is actually Speed Racer, where I love how aggressive the visual style of that movie is, but I know that it pushes some people away. So I wonder if that might happen here, even though, again, I didn't have that reaction. But it's got fun action. It's got a lot of silly stuff going on. The performances from the leads are great. Um, it's just good. It's like I said, it's often very silly in terms of some of these different little parallel universes that get visited. Um, but all of it is still kind of orbiting around a core of real emotion about human relationships and what it means to have a family or be family, and how you hold on to the things you care about in the face of existential despair. And it's so, like, there's real heart at the center of it, even as a lot of it gets very silly. But it's just wonderful. I loved it. I recommend it highly. I think the trailer is pretty good for it. Like, if, I think maybe the optimal would be to go see the movie without seeing the trailer. But if you're maybe not quite sold, I think the trailer is good and it doesn't spoil too much. But so I'll leave it there and I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.